been playing football since I was 8 years old. My first concussion was my freshman year over summer when we were just first couple weeks of getting pads, learning tackling drills and everything, and went heads up with somebody, and it was a helmet to helmet, and I was out for a week or two with the concussion. The second concussion happened week 5, our last game of preseason this year, my senior year, against Heritage High School, and I was playing receiver, caught a slant pass. I remember most of it. When I caught it, tried to juke a couple defenders. I got hit from behind and spun around, and I used my hands to stay on my feet. And when I spun around and turned up and started running again, as soon as I turned around, somebody came flying. I think it was the safety, came flying down helmet to helmet with me. And at that point, I don't remember anything that happened. I opened my eyes, and it was kind of a blur, and everything felt fuzzy and snowy in my vision. I got up on my own, but I was all wobbly, didn't really know what was going on. Got to the sideline and kind of just dropped to my knees because I was completely dizzy, couldn't stay on my feet, couldn't really feel much. I just felt tingly everywhere, and it was scary. Dr. Jen, our sports med person on the sideline, asked me if I was okay, and I played it off saying I was okay. Tried to go in for a couple plays before halftime because it was almost the end of the half, and got into the locker room, and I just didn't feel good at all. It's pressure you put on yourself. You don't want to let your team down. You don't want to stand on the sidelines because you're injured and watch them lose. You don't want to get hurt and be in the hospital knowing that you can't be with your teammates. It's just a matter of wanting to be with them, wanting to help them out and do everything you can, especially as a senior. You never know when it's going to be your last game. You never know when your season's going to end. You never know when it's going to be the last game with a group of kids you've played with since you were 7 years old, 8 years old.
A concussion is a bruise to the brain, and it comes from any kind of a blow outside of the head, which in football there's a helmet, and you get hit hard, and what it does is actually bruises the brain, because the brain is on a pendulum, and there's a little space inside the skull, so that when you get hit very hard, it makes the brain push against the side of the skull on the inside. Symptoms of concussion are from mild to severe. A mild concussion can be only more than a headache. A severe concussion is when you get visual problems, you get nausea and vomiting, and of course the worst is when you get knocked out, and then the degree of time you're knocked out and you don't come back to reality is a severe concussion. I think it's a multitude of reasons. You get a little guy who's going very fast and his helmet hits something versus a 270-pounder who may be not going so fast, but he's a heck of a lot heavier. And so you have mass against speed, and it's all relative. And you've seen some guys in the NFL who don't seem to be hit very hard, and yet they have a severe concussion.
I don't know that there are more concussions. I think that we do a better job being aware of them and recognizing them and having them diagnosed. I think that the protective equipment is better than it was even 10 years ago. So I think that we're doing a better job recognizing them, but I don't think there's a higher incident of concussions across the board. I think it's just to look at the symptoms, to know the player. We spend so many hours. We know when something's not right, and it's up to us to get that kid evaluated. And then, just like with young people, we have to make the more responsible decision for them. Yeah, they might be trying to hide it. They might be telling us they feel better, but it's our job to go with what medical personnel say and to abide by what they think is best for the student athlete. We're experts at coaching football. We're not experts at heads or medicine or anything else. So it's your job as a coach to defer to the people that know better.
It's very scary because, like you said, you don't know how it's going to be. It could be a mild concussion where you're out for 2 or 3 days and you can start lifting and running again. It could be a bad concussion where you're out for a week or two, and it could be one as bad as causing brain damage, paralyzing you. Like you just never know what the outcome's going to be, especially when you get knocked out and it's just all a blur and you open your eyes and you have no clue what happened. Like what happened to me. Like I didn't know if I was going to be able to get up and walk. When I tried to walk, my legs were wobbly. I didn't know what was going on. It was so scary, and everything happened so fast that you don't really know what to do. You just kind of go with what happens, and it's scary. It's scary to look back on and think of too, because you never know if that kid had an extra yard to run and hit me, how much worse it could have been.
We gotta be able to do that. Hey, you gotta get under for that.
I don't think they've taken driver's licenses away from kids because they crashed their car. You know, it's an accepted consequence of playing football, just like getting in a wreck is an accepted consequence of driving a car. You know, that these kids need this and they need the lessons that we teach. And, you know, if somebody has an injury, then, you know, they have it and we deal with it and, you know, we look out for their best interest. But anybody talking about getting rid of the game or changing the rules of the game dramatically, I think is really missing the point.
That's what comes with the sport. You know, any given play you can get hurt. You know, any given play you're going to get hit in your head and you can get knocked out. You can break a bone. Anything can happen. You can lose a tooth. It's just what comes with the sport. And I guess at the end of the day, you really got to buckle down and say, am I going to put everything into it, or am I just going to show up and go through the motions just to do it?